Just give him the keys, Veronica. It's not like you actually need a car. My older sister, Jessica, didn't ask. She commanded. She sat across from me at my parents' dining table, her hand outstretched, palm open, waiting. Her fingers were adorned with rings she couldn't afford, and her face was twisted into a look of impatient entitlement. "Excuse me," I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I didn't look up from my plate. I continued to cut my roast chicken with surgical precision. "Tyler turns 16 next week," Jessica snapped, gesturing to her son, my nephew, who was currently ignoring the conversation, glued to his phone. "He needs a car. You have that sedan sitting in your driveway doing nothing. You take the subway everywhere anyway. It's selfish to hoard it." "It's my car, Jessica," I said calmly. "It's a depreciating asset." She laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "And let's be honest, someone with your lifestyle doesn't need personal transport. You have no kids to shuttle, no husband to impress. You're just existing. Tyler has a future. He has football practice. He has dates." She leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "Mom agrees with me. Don't you, Mom?" My mother sighed, looking at her wine glass. "It would be a nice gesture, Veronica. You know how hard Jessica works. And well, you live such a simple life. You can always buy a bus pass." I stopped cutting the chicken. I looked at the keys sitting next to my water glass. Then I looked at Jessica. She was smirking. She thought she had won. She thought she was bullying the poor, spinster sister into submission. "You want the title?" I asked softly. "Obviously," she huffed. "I'm not paying for insurance on a car I don't own. Sign it over tonight." I picked up my napkin and dabbed the corners of my mouth. "Okay," I said. Jessica's eyes lit up with greed. But she didn't realize that the title transfer she was demanding wasn't for my sedan. It was for her entire life. To understand why my sister felt entitled to rob me in broad daylight, you have to understand the fiction she has built her life around. Jessica deals in appearances. She lives in a house she can't afford, drives a luxury SUV she leases, and sends her kids to a private school where she is constantly asking for financial aid. She is loud, she is flashy, she is drowning in debt. Then there is me, Veronica, 32 years old. To my family, I am the failed daughter. I live in the city. I drive a 2018 Honda Accord, clean, reliable, unassuming. I wear unbranded clothes, black turtlenecks, tailored wool trousers, leather boots. When they ask what I do, I tell them I work in fleet management. To Jessica, that means I'm a dispatcher, or maybe I wash cars. "Oh, Veronica," she likes to say at Christmas, handing me a generic candle she bought on clearance. "I saw a hiring sign at the rental place near the airport. Maybe you could apply? Get some benefits? It's time you stop struggling." I never correct her. I never tell her that fleet management means I am the founder and CEO of Vantage Logistics, a company that manages the private transport fleets for 3 major tech giants and a dozen luxury hotel chains. I never tell her that I sold a proprietary routing algorithm to Uber last year for a sum that looks like a phone number. I never tell her that my simple apartment is a full-floor penthouse overlooking the harbor. Why do I hide it? Because 5 years ago, when I got my first big bonus, I made the mistake of buying dinner for the family at a nice steakhouse. Jessica looked at the bill, saw that I paid without flinching, and immediately asked me to co-sign a loan for her husband's business idea. When I refused, she screamed at me. She told me I was selfish. She told me I was barren and bitter because I wouldn't fund her dreams. I realized then, money makes them monsters. If they think I'm poor, they ignore me. And I prefer being ignored to being used. So, I became the ice queen. I drive the Honda when I visit. I wear the simple clothes. I let them pay for my $5 coffee while they smirk about charity. I watch Jessica parade around in her leased Range Rover, a Range Rover, ironically, that she leased from a dealership chain my company acquired 6 months ago. She doesn't know I own the note on her car. She doesn't know I see every missed payment. She doesn't know that the struggling sister she mocks is the only reason the repo man hasn't shown up at her door yet. But tonight was Tyler's 16th birthday dinner. And Jessica had decided that a Range Rover wasn't enough. She wanted my car too. Not because she needed it, but because she wanted to take something from me. She wanted to remind me of my place. The birthday dinner was held at the Onyx Room, a pretentious fusion restaurant that charged $50 for an appetizer. Jessica had insisted on it. Tyler deserves the best, she had said, charging the deposit to a credit card that I knew was maxed out. The room was dimly lit, smelling of truffle oil and desperation. The walls were lined with black velvet, and the music was a thumping bass that made conversation difficult. I sat at the end of the table, sipping iced tea. Jessica was at the center, holding court. She was wearing a dress that was too tight and too sparkly, trying desperately to look 25. "So, Tyler," Jessica announced, clapping her hands. 16, the big driving age. "Are you excited?" Tyler didn't look up from his phone. "Yeah, whatever. As long as I don't have to drive a beater." Jessica laughed, glancing at me. "Don't worry, sweetie. We'll make sure you have wheels. Proper wheels." She turned to her husband, Mark. "Mark, tell them about the Range Rover. Tell them how powerful it is." Mark, who looked like he hadn't slept in a week, forced a smile. It's a great car, honey. Very luxurious." "Exactly," Jessica preened. "We only drive the best. Unlike some people." She looked at me. "Did you park that Honda out front, Veronica? I hope the valet didn't mistake it for a delivery vehicle." The table chuckled. My cousin, who was trying to get on Jessica's good side, snickered. "It's fine, Jessica," I said, my voice even. "Fine? It's embarrassing," she snapped. "Honestly, I don't know why you keep it. You have no commute. You sit in your apartment all day doing... What is it you do?" "Spreadsheets. Logistics," I said. "Right. Spreadsheets." She rolled her eyes. "It's such a waste. You have this car, and you have no legacy to leave it to. No kids. No heir." She leaned in, her voice dropping to a theatrical whisper. "You know, people talk, Veronica. They wonder why you're alone. They say maybe you're too... cold. Too career-focused on a career that doesn't even pay well." "I'm comfortable," I said. "Comfortable?" She scoffed. "You wear the same boots every winter. That's not comfortable. That's sad." "But Tyler? Tyler has potential. He's going to be someone. He needs a car that reflects that." This is where the demand started. "Give him the Honda," she said. "It's a starter car. It's safe. It's perfect for him to wreck while he learns. And you can, I don't know, buy a scooter. Or walk. It would be good exercise." "I use my car, Jessica," I said. "For what?" she challenged. "To drive to the grocery store to buy dinner for one?" "It's pathetic, Veronica. Be a good aunt for once. Contribute to the family. God knows you don't contribute anything else. No grandkids for mom. No status. Just space." My mother touched my arm. I thought she was going to defend me. "Veronica," Mom whispered. "Just think about it. It would help Jessica so much. Her lease payments are high. If Tyler has your car, they don't have to buy another one." "Mom," I said, looking at her. "She's asking me to give away my property." "It's family," Jessica shouted, slamming her hand on the table. "God, you are so selfish. You hoard everything. You sit on your little pile of nothing, and you refuse to help the people who actually matter." "Actually matter," I repeated. "Yes," she hissed. "I am raising the next generation. I am building a family. You are just a dead end. Genetic dead end. Financial dead end. The least you can do is give us the car." She held out her hand. "The keys. Now. Or don't bother coming to Christmas." The ultimatum hung in the air, heavy and toxic. Tyler finally looked up from his phone, smirking. "Yeah, Aunt V. Give it up. Mom says you're gonna die alone anyway, so you won't need it." I looked at the boy. I looked at his mother. The anger inside me wasn't hot. It was absolute zero. I reached into my purse. I pulled out a set of keys, but they weren't the Honda keys. They were a magnetic key card and a heavy, leather-bound folder I had brought with me. "You want a transfer?" I asked. "Yes," Jessica snapped. "Title and keys. Tonight." "Okay," I said. I pulled out my phone. "Let me just call the transfer agent. He's nearby." Jessica looked confused. "Transfer agent? For a Honda. For the paperwork," I said. "You want it done legally?" "Right. Fine," she huffed. Whatever. Just get it done. I dialed a number. I put it on speaker. Mr. Sterling? You can come in now. The restaurant doors opened. Mr. Arthur Sterling walked in. He wasn't a notary. He wasn't a DMV clerk. He was the general counsel for Vantage Logistics and the interim director of Veloce Automotive Group, the dealership network I owned. He was flanked by two men in dark suits. He carried a briefcase that looked like it contained nuclear codes. Jessica frowned. Who is this? Is this your boss? Did you get fired? Mr. Sterling walked straight to our table. He ignored Jessica. He stopped in front of me and bowed his head slightly. Miss Vance, he said, his voice deep and commanding. The documents are prepared as you requested. Thank you, Arthur, I said. Miss Vance. Jessica laughed nervously. Why is he calling you that? You're Veronica. Miss Vance is the legal owner of the assets in question. Mr. Sterling said, turning his cold gaze to Jessica. He placed the briefcase on the table, pushing aside the overpriced appetizers. He clicked the latches open. Click, click. He pulled out a stack of documents. Jessica, I said, you asked for a title transfer. You said you didn't want to pay insurance on a car you don't own. Right, she said, eyeing the suits. For the Honda. We're not talking about the Honda, I said. I slid the top document across the table. It wasn't a title for a 2018 sedan. It was a lease termination notice for a 2024 Range Rover Sport. VIN ending in 5592. Registered to Jessica and Mark Davis. Lesser. Veloce Automotive Group. Jessica picked up the paper. Her hands started to shake. What is this? She whispered. That, I said, taking a sip of my tea, is the termination of your lease, effective immediately. I don't understand, she stammered. This is my car, my Range Rover. It's not your car, Mr. Sterling corrected. It belongs to the dealership, specifically Veloce Automotive of North Hills. He turned to me. Which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Vantage Logistics, he gestured to me. Miss Vance purchased the dealership chain 6 months ago. She is the chairman of the board. The silence in the restaurant was deafening. Mark dropped his fork. My mother put a hand to her chest. Jessica looked like she was hallucinating. You, she choked out. You own the dealership. I own the network, Jessica, I said calmly. 12 locations, including the one you lease from. I stood up. You said you wanted a car for Tyler, I continued. You said you couldn't afford another payment. You were right about one thing. You can't afford it. I pointed to the document. Mr. Sterling ran an audit on your account when you demanded my car. You are 3 months behind on your lease payments, Jessica. You've been hiding the notices from Mark. Mark turned to his wife. Jessica? Is that true? Jessica turned purple. I was moving money around. It's a mistake. It's not a mistake, I said. It's default. I reached into the folder and pulled out another set of keys. You asked for a car for Tyler, I said. I tossed the keys onto the table. They were cheap, plastic keys. That is for the 2005 Ford Focus trade-in that was sitting on the back lot. It has 200,000 miles. It smells like wet dog. But it runs. You can't be serious, Jessica whispered. I am very serious, I said. I am repossessing the Range Rover. Tonight. Mr. Sterling's associates are valet parking it onto the tow truck as we speak. No, Jessica shrieked. You can't take my car. It's my image. I have clients. You have debt, I said. And you have the audacity to call me useless while driving a car paid for by my company's patients. Tyler looked out the window. Mom, my phone is connected to the car. The alarm just went off. We all looked out the window. Outside, under the streetlights, a tow truck was lifting the gleaming black SUV into the air. The lights flashed. The alarm blared. It was a symphony of humiliation. Jessica stood up, tears streaming down her face, ruining her spray tan. You witch, she screamed. You planned this. You invited us here to humiliate me. You invited me, I reminded her. You demanded my car. You told me I was a dead end. I'm just closing the loop. I'm your sister, she wailed. How can you do this? We're family. Family doesn't try to steal from each other, I said. Family doesn't mock each other for being childless. Family doesn't treat people like ATMs. I turned to Mark. Mark, I said, the Ford Focus is yours, free and clear. I signed the title over to you. Consider it a birthday gift for Tyler. It's a starter car. Safe. Perfect for him to wreck. Mark looked at the cheap keys. He looked at his wife. He looked at the tow truck outside. Thank you, Veronica, he whispered. Mark, Jessica screamed. Throw them at her. We are not driving a Ford. We are if we don't want to walk, Mark snapped. It was the first time I'd ever heard him raise his voice at her. I picked up my purse. Mr. Sterling, I said, please ensure the bill for dinner is paid. Of course, Miss Vance. Not this dinner. I corrected. My dinner. Just my tea and my salad. Jessica and Mark can cover their own $50 appetizers. They have a new car payment to budget for zero. I walked toward the door. Jessica ran after me, grabbing my arm. Veronica, please, I can't be seen in that Ford. The other moms, the school. Please, I'll apologize. I'll do anything. I looked at her hand on my arm. You said I had no legacy, I said softly. I didn't mean it. My legacy is success, I said. Yours is appearances. And I just canceled your show. I pulled my arm away. Enjoy the drive home, Jessica. I hear the Focus has a tape deck. Maybe you can find some old cassettes to listen to. I walked out of the restaurant. The valet who worked for a company I contracted with saw me coming. He ran to get my Honda. He opened the door for me. Good evening, Miss Vance, he said respectfully. Good evening, I said. As I drove away, I saw Jessica standing on the sidewalk, screaming at the tow truck driver. Tyler was kicking the tire of the rusted Ford Focus. Mark was sitting on the curb, head in his hands. The fallout was absolute. Jessica tried to sue me for wrongful repossession. The judge threw it out in 5 minutes when Mr. Sterling showed the payment history. They had to sell their house to cover their other debts. They are currently renting a small townhouse 3 towns over. Jessica drives the Ford Focus. I've heard she parks it 2 blocks away from the grocery store so no one sees her. My mother called me, crying, saying I was too harsh. I told her that if she ever brought up my lifestyle or my lack of children again, I would stop paying for her nursing home insurance. She hasn't mentioned it since. I'm currently expanding Vantage Logistics into Europe. I bought a new car last week. A vintage Porsche 911. I don't drive it to family dinners. I keep it for myself. Because the best luxury in life isn't a car. It's the freedom to drive away from people who don't deserve you. If you enjoyed this story of horsepower and karma, hit that like button and subscribe. And remember, never judge a car by its bumper. The person driving it might just own the road. See you in the next one.